Now at least I can see LinkedIn too.
Well, we're live, so there you go.
Because we're live on LinkedIn. We're not live yet, but we're probably live somewhere. Hi.
We're not live on LinkedIn yet?
I mean, I'll refresh it, but no worries. We're live here. That's what matters.
You're right. It doesn't show waiting for broadcast.
Yeah.
Huh. Okay.
If somebody's hearing us somewhere, please comment so we know.
I don't see it live yet on LinkedIn. I think it's live on YouTube.
All right. Well, if you're watching on YouTube, hi, and please let us know you can hear us. Yeah, it's not live on LinkedIn that I can tell, but anyway.
No shock. It's always a clusterfuck with us, so we're good.
There's something to deal with.
It is. I think LinkedIn might have a delay of some sort, some kind of delay. I just don't know what it is.
I don't know. This seems like a long delay, but
it does. It definitely does.
I'm not gonna worry about it.
Oh, we're having trouble streaming to LinkedIn. This may be a LinkedIn issue. We'll keep you posted as we're trying to stream there. Perfect.
Okay.
All right. Well, then we're not on LinkedIn. We're on Facebook and YouTube so far.
Did you check to make sure we are?
No, actually.
I'm sure we are. I don't see any comments, but that could be that no one is there or no one's ready to comment. I'm just going to sit here and smile for now.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. Oh, now it says we're live on LinkedIn, but now I'm checking. What do you call it?
The others. I don't know the others. What do you call it?
I don't know what you know what? I'm done. I'm done checking anything. It's either going to work or it's not going to work, and it's either going to come up or it's not going to come up at this point.
That sounds perfect. We'll go with that.
There's 4 people watching. It might be me. It might be me, you, and Kelly, and one other person.
That's okay.
It just says it's having trouble.
Katie, I'm here, sweethearts. Where are you at? Oh, he's on YouTube.
On YouTube. He's on YouTube. That's why.
Yeah, I was like, make sure it's my friend. I'm here, sweetheart. Is it Karina or is it KDJ then?
No, that's KDJ. Karina's
There's
busy.
No spaciousness. There's no deliciousness. There's no tastiness.
I know. He
switched that. Sweetheart is a new one. I like it. I definitely like it.
It's the new KDJ. Tastably, edibly good sweethearts. Yeah, it just says waiting for broadcast. I don't know what's going on with LinkedIn, but there's 4 people.
It's okay. But Katie J's here and anyone else is watching on YouTube. So let's go.
Oh man.
Don't worry about it. It's reaching who it's supposed to reach. Come on, let's go.
It's true. And who it's not supposed to reach, it's not going to reach.
Exactly.
Oh, I hear tablets in the background. So, what are we going to talk about tonight? I don't remember anymore.
Should we introduce ourselves? Because there might be people who, something like that.
This is Connected Human Conversations with Nancy and Mike.
Yeah.
Is that better?
I mean, at least people know. I mean, I understand. We're ready to jump in, but there's my comment. We're ready to jump in, but the hope is there are people coming every week that maybe haven't been here before. So
right.
Give them the courtesy of an introduction. And yes, this is Connected Conversations. Well, no, it's Connected Human Conversations with Mike and Nancy. I didn't even get it right. And I'm Nancy. In case there was any confusion, I'm Nancy.
In case we were wondering which is which, there might have been a concern there at some point.
That's a good KDJ comment. That's a little bit more about. What were you going to talk about? Are you checking your texts?
Oh, no, I probably should though to remember.
Something about layers of truth and...
Layers of trust. It was
trust
layers of trust
and something about the negative bringing us down.
Oh, about the downward spirals.
We're so well prepared. That's what I like. Every week we come in clearly ready to go. And the thing is, for people watching, they don't understand that if all the prep in the world, all the thought in the world, we would still come in like this.
Yes, it really doesn't change anything, and we just roll with it because it's just what we do.
Yes, it's just what we do. So, all right. So, why don't you start? Because I think these topics, I'm trying to look for them. These topics were things that, came out of your last 48 hours. Not that they're not things that I don't talk about and feel also, but they came out of your last 48 hours. So,
That is true.
you
My last 48 hours. So over the last week, I've gotten completely away from my routine. I've gotten away from my daily practices, what I do to keep myself aligned and in a place of groundedness and centeredness. And as the week wore on, my core foundation started crumbling beneath me. I was really good still on Thursday morning, and then as Thursday went, it got a little bit worse. Misfit Toys went great. It was a great episode. Friday, I woke up and I was okay the first half of the day, and then something just started shifting, and it just snuck up on me, and it really was just pounding me. To put it gently, I just I started losing it, and um, what I decided to do was to disappear and hide. And I'm not someone who doesn't communicate. I'm not someone who walks away from communication or disappears with communication. Hey, Dorothy. Yeah, something is up with LinkedIn.
Yeah, we're not sure. It's over because I can't comment back to you guys. Sorry. At least not for now.
Hey, Michelle.
Hello, Michelle. Thank you for coming. Yeah.
Yeah. We don't
And
know what's going
I can't even message over there, like put a comment like, hey, there's an issue, come on over, to YouTube or Facebook, unfortunately, because the comments are disabled until the live starts. So
That's right. Yeah,
yeah.
they're LinkedIn's brilliant about this stuff.
Mm-hmm.
So as Friday went on, my day got more and more dark. I did a call from 4:30 to 5:08. After that call at 5:08, I shut down. The last person I tried to call was you. You weren't feeling well because you had your shot.
Mm-hmm.
And I just shut down. I disappeared. And for me to go dark or radio silence is not normal.
Mm-hmm.
That's not my normal ever, even when I am in a downward spiral. I went really deep, really dark, really fast. And it was suffocating. I call it quicksand because at those moments, it feels like any move I make, I go deeper and deeper and deeper. So I basically stopped moving. I stopped thinking. I stopped acting. I stopped communicating. Um, I didn't really say much of anything to anyone. And at those moments, when I start going down that, it amplifies all the negatives. I start rethinking every negative thing from my whole life. I start replaying it all in my head. It consumes me.
I was thinking, Michelle, sorry, I didn't want to interrupt you, but she's directing people here. Thank you.
And I went really dark yesterday, like really, really deep, and it was scary. It was probably the darkest moment I think I've had in years. A few people offered to be there and did their best to be there and took time away from their personal life to be there. Others offered to try and fit in time slots that were convenient to them. And it's not what would have worked for me yesterday.
Good for you for now.
There was a point in time where I would lean into one person, and I know that's just not what I'm meant to do, right? I'm just not meant to burden one person with what I carry. While I have enormous gifts, enormous abilities, an enormous purpose, and I'm here to really do amazing things and help people drastically, the dark moments are equally as bad. And the burdens are equally as bad. And the trauma goes back lives, past lives, former lives. And it all just kind of came to a head yesterday. And I can't even explain how I was at a negative point or a dark point where even crying didn't help. It was so dark and so bad that I didn't want to cry. I didn't feel like it, right? I didn't feel like I could. Um, most people had no idea, right? Because it was only 28 hours. So, if you don't hear from somebody for 28 hours, who notices, right? We're all busy. We all have lives.
If you don't hear from you for 28 hours, that's a big deal. And I was getting 1 2-word answers. I knew you were struggling with something.
Yeah,
for sure.
it was bad. It was really, really bad. And I was drowning in blame, shame, and guilt. I was drowning in any type of past negativity that I could bring up, right? I spent time, I didn't have my kids yesterday, so it was one of the days that she has them for 10 hours. It was so bad that at one point I passed out because my body just couldn't handle it. It was so overwhelmed that I needed more sleep. And what's ironic is Friday night I got the most sleep that I've gotten in probably 2 weeks. It was literally like this slope that just kept going. And there was no bottom. There was no anything. And all sorts of negative thoughts, negative ideas came into play. Negative wants, negative desires, negative whatever you want to call that. It all came up. It just did. And I didn't really know how to handle it. I just didn't understand.
But you did know how to handle it because you're here today and you're in a different place.
Yeah, yes.
You might not have seen it in the moment. I get, because I've been there. I get that you don't see in the moment how any of your tools could possibly work. But you did know what to do because you're here today and you're feeling better.
Yeah, in hindsight, yes, right? Mm-hmm. In hindsight, yes, but at that moment, there was 3 people that I was communicating with. You, Kelly, and Jen, and that was it. It was just one of those days, and I didn't reach out to anybody. I didn't attempt to reach out to anybody. I didn't want to communicate with anybody. You weren't feeling well because of the shot. You were sick. Kelly was busy on her trip. Jen's busy on family day because it's Saturday and Sunday. But you guys took time out to be there for me, the best I would allow. And that says a lot, right, about all 3 of you and the kind of people that you are. Because I spend so much time in my life being there for people when they need me, not when it's convenient, that it's a lot, right? It's a lot it's not easy to always be that. It's just not.
It's not.
To put yourself in a position to be there for people when you're off, when you're not in a good space, or even when you're in a great space, just to take time out of your day to be there for somebody else is an enormous, enormous feat. And it takes special people to be able to do that. Not this, I'm available now, or I'm available then, or if this works for you, it's like I'm booking an appointment with a therapist that has a packed schedule for 6 months. It's when you're in those moments, it's so hard to explain because it's so opposite of who I normally am. But it's so extreme. It's everything is so amplified, and breathing is tough, and thinking is tough, and existing is tough. And I sat with it, right? Like, I'm an auditory person. I talk about it all the time. Talking it out is really the best thing for me mentally. And I didn't want to talk to anybody. I didn't want to speak to a soul. I was just that shut down and that trapped. Do you have any comments about how that affects you when that happens? Or do you want me to just keep rambling?
But you're welcome to do whatever's good for you. I have a couple of thoughts about what you said, but in terms of how that affects me, it's definitely challenging for me to not be able to be there for someone I care about when they're going through something really rough. I mean, it just, that feeling of helplessness, that's what I end up with, this feeling of helplessness. And ironically, yesterday, I was feeling like crap. I hadn't gotten out of bed because I was really not feeling well, and, was trying to show up for you the best I could, and trying not to feel guilty that I couldn't fully be there. But it is hard when I can't show up for people, because I know how important it is, because I've been in those dark spaces when someone shows up or checks in or just something, notices that the pattern has changed. But again, I try learning to try not to make it about me. I gave you exactly what you needed and what you asked for, right? And you were very transparent about what you needed and where you were. And so that was helpful. And again, it's about me changing to not about me, how I feel, but what does the other person need? So for that, yeah, that's my reflection on that. For you, one of the things that I think is really cool, and I don't know that you're giving yourself credit for, is that you created your own safe space for yourself. Right? You got off electronics and silenced notifications. You were quiet in your home, and even if that safe space was bed, if that safe space was sleeping, you created that for yourself. And you didn't need that one person. You didn't need that one person. And who showed up were members of your community, 3 different members of your community. You have so many people there that I know it's hard, because I'm not a good reacher outer. But you don't need, first of all, you are capable of creating it yourself, which I think is huge, right? To know that you can create that safe space, even when you don't know that's what you're doing. Your energy knows that's what it needs, and that's what it's doing, right? It somehow does it for you. And the other thing that a lesson coming out of this is, it's not one person, Mike. It's your community. It's all of us. And this time, Kelly, Jen, and I were able to show up, and next time it may be us again and other people, or it might be a completely different group, but your community is there for you. And so I think it's important to give yourself credit for creating that safe space, and really spend time acknowledging that one of the lessons learned here is it's not about just one person. You don't have to put all of your hope into that one person. You also use the word burden. And I know it feels like that to you. And I don't know the deepest, darkest depths of where you go. And so I can't judge that it wouldn't be a burden. However, there is something to say about letting other people help you shoulder it when and if you can. To be able to say what you said to me, and I can't remember, you said something about, like, if you say anything, it's going to be, you didn't use the word nasty, but you basically said, if I say anything from where I'm at now, it's going to be ugly, right? And that was why you weren't doing it. But even telling me that gave me a bit of space, a peek into, and the ability to write back to you and say, okay, but I'm here, or whatever I responded with, just to let you know I'm here. And so those were sort of the 3 things that came up for me. Also, your sensory diet. That was the other thing that really came up for me is, yes, your version of self-soothing was really obvious to me when I saw the video you created, which was incredibly brave, moving, touching, and I felt it. I was there with you in what you were going through, which, again, I think is an amazing piece of vulnerability that you share. It is a reflection of your amazing strength, and particularly as a man to be able to do it, you're a huge role model and you're leading by example. So again, those pieces are there. And I forgot what I was saying before that, but that was really what was important. Oh, your sensory diet. Okay, so what I noticed when I watched the video is the constant rubbing of your beard in your face. And I'm not saying it to make you self-conscious. I actually think it's a really good thing. I think that you are doing some sensory grounding, right? The stubble of your beard is a particular feeling. And it's one that it's not necessarily soft. It's not, it's something that gets your attention and gives you some pretty good sensory input. And so to me, when I was watching, I was like, wow, maybe what would work for you, Mike, is some sensory grounding, trying to get your senses more involved. And so that was a curiosity for me. Whether or not it resonates with you and why I think this and how I see this, was something I shared with you. But it was my observation. And I love you. And I hate that you went through the hard. You hate that I go through the hard. Nobody wants that, but we all understand what happens in the hard and where we come out afterwards. And so I want you to, I don't know if the words want, I expect you to take those moments of growth, go through them and come out even closer to the human that you're meant to be fully. And so if I could take away the pain and that could happen, of course I would. Of course I would. But it doesn't work that way. So while my heart was breaking because you were in pain, I had to keep bringing myself back to, this is where the growth is happening. This is where the growth is happening. These are the growing pains. And that allowed me to have some grace with myself and have some positivity and some good energy to send to you. Now I'm looking like, I saw Michelle. Hi, Jen. Yes, Jen's here, right? And she's saying you have a community as a team to support you. Dorothy said she's here for you anytime. It's not, not just us. Katie J notices that you rub your face too. I think I really believe it's a sensory grounding thing for you. I could be totally off, but sensory grounding is what it feels like to me. So.
The way I felt when I did that video last night, I think you're 100% accurate. The way I feel right this moment is 100% accurate. I'm still not 100% comfortable in my own skin right now, right? I'm still off. I'm better. I'm definitely much better. How deep does the darkness goes? It goes to the darkest places any living being could ever imagine. As dark as it can get. And maybe compounded by multiple lives of it. Sometimes knowing is too much. And it's overwhelming, right? And it's truly, truly overwhelming and painful. Sitting with it and growing through it is something I'm proud of. And I don't say that about myself very often. But I am proud of myself. And
you've also gone through a tremendous amount of growth in the past 2 weeks alone. You have really cocooned and butterflied multiple times in the past 2 weeks. And that's sort of unusual for us. Our big growth moments don't usually come rapid fire, but you're in that place where it's happening and it's discovering, and each thing is connected to the next, and it's happening the way it's supposed to, and it feels really shitty, and you got to embrace the suck. But you're in a really big period of growth right now, and I don't know how long that lasts. And that's the hard part, right? If you told me I had to hold on for a month, okay, I can make it through a month, just because I know there's an end. But I don't have that for you. You don't have it for yourself. But you've done a lot of growing, and it's not surprising to me that you found yourself back in a place that was darker. And in a way, sorry, I don't want you to, it was good because you were vulnerable to it, because your energy was already a little bit down, and it needed to happen. I'm curious, because I saw Dorothy put something like, whatever the thoughts are, whether it be about, your deep, dark places, or, what your soothing behaviors are. Like, sensory soothing is something that I'm familiar with because of my work in the world of autism. But I don't know if that's something people think of in terms of their self-care. yeah, it doesn't have to be totally dark to know what to do with it. It doesn't, the deepest, darkest is only one of the things that comes up that challenge us to problem solve in this way, to really figure out, what is it I need or don't need in this time. And I'm curious from everyone else, because I know we've been through it, and you can continue obviously to add your thoughts, but I think one of the things that's powerful is connecting our experiences to others, and that we're not alone. So that's why I'm asking of people who are watching. And I'm going to say hello to David Pollock, who has joined us since I last said hello to everyone.
Yes.
Am I kicking you now? Like, am I kicking your butt a little bit?
No, you're fine. I'm still a little off, but it's okay.
You're still in a state where you can receive easily. That's what I'm going to call it. You know how I love to reframe things.
Yes. I'm just not the best receiver. Working on it though. It's a work in progress.
Aren't we all?
Yes, we are.
For me, I mean, I don't want it to be painful, but the thought of being in a place where I'm not growing is kind of a scary one to me.
If I could hit a level and just be there for a little bit, I might be okay. It's been a rough few months. Like, give me a little bit of a plateau here before, the next gut check, right? But
the universe knows exactly how to put you on that roller coaster, man.
It does. It does. How deep can it go? How fast can it go up and down? And how fast can it swirl you around?
How long before you puke?
Yeah, pretty much. I was on the verge of it a few times yesterday.
Me too. For different reasons, though.
For different reasons. It's been interesting though. Like, I felt it coming, and no matter what I did, like, I couldn't get my routine back. I couldn't. Excuse me. Apparently, I'm still tired. I couldn't get my routine back. I couldn't get my footing again, and it just led to me rolling off the cliff. It's a lot, right? It's COVID and Corona world and what we're living in for this last year, compounded with my extreme circumstances, compounded with my decision to make a complete transformation, because perfect timing, and why not go through everything possible. It's a lot. It's just I put myself to the fire. I do, and I'm okay with it.
That's who you are.
Yeah.
That's how you grow. That's how you kind of have to sort of rev your engine and then go. And that's for you, your growth pattern.
I'm pretty intense, yeah, on all levels. It's like it's all or nothing, and it's quite full steam ahead when it goes. And then when it's off, it's off. And right now, I'm fortunate that even though I'm going through the pain, I'm still not taking it off, and I'm still not walking away from it. I'm still not going around it. I'm still going through it. So I'm proud of myself for that also, because going through is not going through sucks, but it's the only way. It really is.
When you're going through hell, keep on moving. That's
Yeah.
Get out before the devil even knows you're there.
That hasn't always worked for me in the past, but we'll keep trying.
Well, you're doing it with different tools and with a different purpose and a different intent. Yes, I understand. You have in the past had a very different way of dealing with a situation, when it came up for you, and had those emotions. And for a long time, actually, you didn't even know you had those emotions. You didn't even know what was driving the bus. You just went out and did without being connected to why you were doing it even. So again, tremendous amount of growth in the course of a year. Really.
It's been a crazy year. It's really been a crazy year. I mean, March 6th is a year since I got my kids. I mean, that's next Saturday. That's crazy. Like, that's insane. it's been quite the ride. It really has been. And as tough as it's been, I would never trade anything for it, because even yesterday at my lowest moments, yes, they were lower than probably most any other time that I remember in my life. But I now have tools to be able to handle it because of what I've been through. And as you go deeper, the pain gets darker, but you also have more tools to be able to handle it. And I guess I proved it to myself yesterday.
Yeah.
When
And it's another instance of you putting yourself first, which is, so important to me. This is sort of a new skill for you, but you put yourself first, right?
Yeah.
And I know that's a hard one for you to hear, but you did. Turning off the notifications, not trying to be there for anyone, just even the fact that you only tried a few people, you didn't keep going to find someone to be there, and that you chose you. Can you hear me at all?
No. I just have a shadow in this ear, and I'm trying to figure out what's irking me. It's just irking.
Okay. But you chose you again, and the reward is infinite.
Yeah, I'm not used to that one. It's a very awkward feeling of choosing me and not caving into old habits or wants or diversions or escapisms. Just choosing me and sitting with it. That's a big difference for me. It's a huge difference. For me at my lowest yesterday, to stand up for me and not try and fit into something was pretty impressive, actually.
I know.
Looking back, I mean, obviously at the moment it felt like shit, but looking back, it's a big difference. Looking back, it's a big step, right? And the reality is, the way I felt yesterday, there was probably nobody I could have spoken to that would have had an impact.
We don't have to totally understand it either to be there for you.
I love you.
Kenny.
I love you, Kenny. I love you. Yes, Nancy gets me. Yeah, she does. It works.
My gifts are meant to be shared with you.
Yes.
Sorry, can you just stop this in our chat? And Michelle agrees with me. We don't have to understand. That's the beauty of being human. And I know there's varying degrees of this. I see you already rolling your eyes and coming up with something you're going to say to me that says it's not true. So sit there and rub your beard for a minute and get grounded, and then you can talk. That's the beauty of being human, right? We don't have to have the exact same experiences to understand one another, to be able to be there for one another, to help one another through. It's really the willingness. It's the willingness to do all of that and just sit.
I'm not used to somebody catching all the intricacies like I usually do, right? That's usually me that catches it on everyone. I'm just not used to that. It's pretty funny, but it's okay. I like it, actually.
It's funny because I've had other people say to me, no one's ever noticed that. I think it's both I think it's a chicken egg. Actually, I take that back. Who I am is what drove me to my professional world in terms of this social cognition piece of noticing the changes in patterns and noticing the subtle pieces that come up in interpersonal interaction that lots of people miss. But I will say, and you've experienced this, my ability to see those things, I was going to say can sometimes be to my detriment, but I guess they're sometimes not welcome and can sometimes be to my detriment.
It is definitely a blessing and a curse, and I warn every person that says that they love it in the beginning that they're going to hate it in the end. Because you watch it unravel really quick, and you see the difference immediately.
Mhm.
And people don't like seeing that difference. They love when the observation is how cute and how amazing, and oh, you notice all the details. Oh, you're so observant. And then when it starts going the other direction, it's why do you notice everything? Why do you have to see it all? Why? What are you picking up on? I don't understand why you would think that. What are you thinking? Like, why would you think that?
People have such a hard time being seen, Mike. That's all it is. People have a hard time. We have a hard time being seen. You throw a couple of nice words at me and I'm in tears most 90% of the time. It's hard for me to take that in and be seen through other people's eyes. So same with, the things that I see and the things I notice, and I know you do too. One of the things I've learned is being better at judging whether or not that person is able to receive it, is in a place to receive it, or if the best way I can help is just by keeping my mouth shut and letting them.
I'm still learning the keeping your mouth shut part. I'm not very good at that one.
But you're aware of and putting energy into. So.
I'm getting better with it, and it's a work in progress. It's hard for me sometimes because it's part of how I care, right? Like I care so much that I notice those details. I don't want to say that I'm learning to care less, but in a way it almost feels that way.
No, but it's not. I understand.
I don't know if anybody watching does.
I think you can give people a little more credit. They might not experience it the way you and I do because of the intensity in which it happens for you and I, and the frequency for which it happens. But people who are caring, it's hard not to be there, and we feel like bad people, right? When we don't show up, when we don't support everyone, when we don't do everything we could possibly do for the people we love. And so, yes, it feels like you're failing. It feels like you're quote unquote caring less. But the reality is what's happened is you're finding balance, the balance between caring for others and caring for yourself so that you can care for others. And there are people who are not ready. There absolutely are. I've lived a lifetime of not ready moments already, and once I was ready, it was very clear. It had been there all along, but it finally was clear to me, and I'm sure other people saw it. I'm sure they did. But again, it's not about not caring. You still care. The fact that you feel like you're caring less shows how much you care, if we want to put that circular logic into the mix. But we have to, exactly what I was saying before, if you've got to make sure you're in a good place. You've got to take care of yourself. You've got to make sure that your energy is good and flowing, and that you're not so depleted in order to be there for the people you love. Now, I say all this like, ta-da! It's not easy.
I need a live-in babysitter. Or a co-parenter that just wants to hang out for a few months. No, I get it though. I do, and I'm learning, right? Like I really am taking huge steps towards that, and taking time for myself, and not feeling guilty doing so, right? That's one thing I can say about yesterday that was different than any other time. I did not feel guilty towards anyone else yesterday. I really felt bad towards me, but I didn't feel guilty.
It's okay. That's self-compassion.
But that's okay, right? Like you said, I mean, I made it about me, which is what it's supposed to be when you're in that space, which is something I always wanted to avoid. So that's, again, like you said, big steps.
And yeah, Michelle brings up caring versus rescuing or enabling, and those are different words for a reason. Different words for a reason. And I'm a big word person. No word is void. So yeah, caring versus rescuing versus enabling. That is a very good comment, Michelle. Thank you.
I have been an enabler my whole life. And years I was enabled. So I get it. I really do. rescuing, yeah, I was always the hero. Always had to be the hero.
Oh, I love to run into burning buildings. What are you talking about?
Seriously, as long as it's not saving myself, I was great, right? Like, I mean, I wanted to do that work. It's a hell of a
lot
learning.
of really nice comments. Sorry, I'm reading. I'm
No,
listening
there is.
as well, but there are a lot of really insightful comments, which doesn't surprise me from the people who are here with us at all. But
I'm bad LinkedIn's missing this one.
I know. Well,
It's okay.
it'll be out there for people. You know, again, it's reaching the people it was supposed to reach. And so, gosh, yes. First of all, Katie J's comment is, you know, I still love you, you nut. And, you know, like I said, Michelle had a great one, and Dorothy earlier, and Jen, her.
Katie, you're wrong. Nancy's not good. She's great.
Oh, I didn't even see anything good. Thank you. And Jen, yeah, this place of coming from how feeding ourselves so we can show up the way we would want to. And you're at Michelle, this is so important. We can't rescue those who push the help away. You can't rescue people when they've chained themselves to the radiator in the burning building and they have the key and they toss it out the window.
Yeah, you can only hand them the key so many times. Like I've been the king of doing that in the past too, and I'm done. I can't do it anymore. I'm not doing it. I'm not sacrificing myself to save that. I'm just not.
And you're aware now of the effects, acutely aware of the effects on you.
Yeah.
So it's not.
And that leads to the second thing that we talked about, which is the layers of trust, which ironically, what is Jay Shea's book called? The monk, Live Like a Monk. Yeah, Live Like a Monk. It was a really good book, actually. And in there somewhere, I mean, it was 11 hours of an audiobook, which is a really long book. That's a really long audiobook. It talks about the layers of trust and how intrinsically as humans, we want to bond and we want to trust. Mm-hmm. And we want to give trust in the beginning and we want to trust people. And then it goes into details about the different layers of trust and what we need to learn to protect ourselves and to be true to ourselves is how much we can trust those around us. And one of the things that came out in my video last night, through all the pain, tremendous amount of pain that I was feeling at the moment, that I probably could have gotten an Oscar for because I really did a good job of showing the pain.
Yeah, but you weren't acting and you only get Oscars.
No, there was no acting there. Was that I've put trust in the wrong people and too much trust. And I if we look at trust as like a credit marker, I over leveraged that trust. And it set me up in a position that I was crushed by it, right? And I don't know if I've never trusted anyone that deeply in my life. Hey, Cap.
Ah, Cap. You know, there's so many words in there that there's another, like, there's so many beautiful souls with us. My gosh. You know how I am about words. And I don't think you put your trust in the wrong people. I think who you were at that time saw the situation differently, needed something else from the situation. And that bond and level of trust came from there. And it's not easy. It's hard as we grow to look back and see that and attribute that, not to trusting the wrong person, but using what you could and had at that moment, at that time in your life. We're very quick to blame ourselves, right? That we're trusting the wrong people. Well, I could say that about, when my divorce, I lost my community, and I did not expect that at all. Like, I don't have a single friend from my married group anymore. And that was their choice for whatever reason. I don't even spend time trying to figure it out. But for a little bit, I was like, I didn't trust myself to make friends. Well, if these people who've been in my life for 12, 15 years could just walk away when I'm hurting, then what do I know? Well, those were the friends that were right for me when I was in my marriage and the space that I could occupy and the depth that I could go to.
I don't know if I can trust anyone to that level ever again at this current moment.
Mm.
I don't know. I just don't. I've never in my life let anyone in all the way like that and truly let somebody in. And I don't know if I'll ever be able to do it again. I just don't. It's the level of hurt and extreme vulnerability in that was. Oh, I'm reading your mind. This is dangerous.
You're reading my mind? Is that what you said? That's because I'm sending you thoughts.
It is a lot. I don't know. It was a lot. And
it is a lot. And I've been in that place where, no, I'm never going to trust again. I'm never going to trust again. There's no way I can do it. And you and I have discussed this, and we'll use the example of heartbreak. Having been someone who was completely detached from my feelings for most of my life because of my prior
I don't know what it's like. So you might have to describe that to me.
All right, so let me describe this to you.
Yeah, no clue.
I know, you know, but this is why I think we can have this piece of this conversation. Yes, you were really hurt. Yes, you feel like you can never trust again because, same with me, I was having experiences that I should have had much earlier in my life. Not should have, that most people have much earlier in their life because they're connected to their feelings and they learn these tools so that by the time you get to a certain place in your life, right? Not that it ever doesn't hurt or you get it right 100% of the time, but you know, for me, I didn't have the tools to deal with my heart being broken in my 40s, which sounds bizarre, but I never gave anyone my heart before. So it wasn't broken. It was fine. Even with my community, like, you know, feeling the pain of friends leaving. There was pain because I had expected my community to be there for me. And I ended up feeling very alone. But at the same time, I learned a lot about myself and my resilience and what I can do. And what I learned is I have the tools to discern. I have the tools to discern good friends and bad friends, and, you know, not bad friends, but situational friends and deep friends, deep bonded friends, acquaintances. I do have those tools. And I saw a couple of people say that I rock and, you know, they missed out. They missed out. That I think somebody said that my friends missed out, and I appreciate that. But I can tell you, I wasn't this Nancy. I wasn't this Nancy in my marriage. When I was married, I wasn't. So yes, they did miss out, but I don't know if I would have had the evolution and the growth that I had if I had stayed and if they had stayed in my life. You know, looking back, it's a lot of people who were so deeply rooted where they were. My changing, my breaking up the band, I don't know, whatever it was, made them really uncomfortable because they were so rooted. And then I couldn't stay in that system. As I was changing, I couldn't stay in the system. I didn't fit. And I made everyone uncomfortable. I didn't fit because I took care of me. I didn't show up. I didn't show up for a lot of things for a long time because I couldn't show up, kind of as Jen was saying earlier, as the person I am and choose to be and honor. But no one took a step toward me. And I didn't realize that till after. And so I can discern. I can find the people who will step in. And I can, for reasons of needing to protect my heart and my soul, I can find those things out slowly if I need to. So right now, no, why would you want to trust someone ever again? You feel like total shit. But I worry about you continuing to tell yourself that because I don't want your brain and your soul and your energy to believe you.
Okay. I'll say okay, and I'll leave it at that. I'm not going to give an excuse or I'm not going to give an explanation, but it's okay.
I know I was heard.
And that could be a topic for a whole nother show, which is changing dynamics and how when no matter what situation, what circumstance, what ship you're in, right? Any ship, when a dynamic shifts, if both sides don't openly discuss it and address it and communicate it, then it usually dissolves really quick. And most people won't have those conversations.
Or they get pulled back into the old way.
Right. And I've made a decision that I'm not getting pulled back in ever. I'm just not. I refuse. I'm choosing me. I'm truly choosing me. And the pain, the hurt, the whatever it is, I'm choosing me. I know what I'm here to do and I'm going to do it. Nothing's going to get in my way. Nothing's going to stop me because I'm going to help a lot of people. And I'm not going to fit into dynamics that don't fuel growth and positivity and unconditional love and support and perpetual growth and inspiration and self-inspiration. And like, that's what I want in my life.
Mm-hmm. It's not what you want. You use a different word. It's what you expect, you desire, you intend.
It is my intent because it's what I give.
Absolutely.
And I don't need one person to give them all. I don't need one person to fill everything. I realize that now too. And I do realize that. And I guess I have done a pretty good job of bringing a community together.
And this is an understatement.
We really have a hell of a group of people. We really do. And it's impressive and it's powerful and it's beautiful.
Look, 2 of them have shown up here.
Yeah.
And we can't all be everywhere all the time, but this community, someone always shows up.
Yeah.
Someone always shows up. And if they don't show up,
well, I don't know. Okay, so Kenny's a de facto community member because he's been around since the beginning.
Well, you know what I'm thinking is actually everybody here is a member of my community. I was thinking island people, which isn't fair. Because
Michelle's there, Dorothy's there. I mean, I spoke to Dorothy this morning. I spoke to Michelle, I think Wednesday or Thursday.
Anyone who showed up here are those people, by definition.
Yeah, and there's more. There is more. They're everywhere. We have people all over the world. We're just getting started.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Expect
the energy that's in my life now is completely different. You know, my intentions for myself, my expectations for myself is to never live on breadcrumbs again. I can survive on breadcrumbs, but I'm not going to do it. Not to ever lose my voice again, which is a big one because I worked very hard to gain it, and then slowly and insidiously, I let it go again. So that's another one for me. I'm not going to.
I promise if that voice starts disappearing, I will literally get you on this show and stay on mute the whole hour and force you to just talk. I will literally sit here because your voice needs to be heard. Your voice needs to be heard.
And I believe you and trust that that would be the case, which is why making that one of my expectations of myself works. Because while it really has to be me, it doesn't mean that there aren't people around me who aren't going to support my expectations and my intentions and desires.
I'm never going to do them for you, but I'll hold you accountable to it.
You can't do it for me. You can't.
Right, but I'll hold you accountable to it, to yourself.
Yeah.
As Jen does. As Jairus Cap does.
Yeah, I say what is it? The Virginia, right? VA, Virginia Cap. Is that what it stands for?
You know what? I never even realized that.
I might be wrong. So
No, Perry is Virginia. I mean, that's why they're both capitals, so that would make sense.
hang on, I'm going to catch up here. Um, so much good stuff going on here. So I want to take a second. Teach you better. Yes, all experiences teach you better. Once you know better, you do better. Mm-hmm. We grow and evolve. It hurts. Grace to heal. Open to possibilities in the future. I'm truncating clearly. I like that Jairus likes my words. Yes, I try very hard, and it's not always easy, to avoid words. And sometimes they're just the appropriate word, and you can't get rid of them everywhere. But I try to avoid words that leave what's going to happen to things outside of my control. So wanting and needing is coming from a place of lack for me, and I don't believe in lack. I believe in abundance. I can't even say I live in abundance. There's abundance all around me. So that those words to me spark lack, because if I need something or want something, then I already have everything I need and everything I want within me, if we're using those words. Hope and wish are beautiful, but to me, and other people have their passive words. I hope and I wish. I'm waiting for something outside of me to make this happen, and I don't need to wait.
No, they need to be action words. They need to be doing, working towards.
I'm putting my energy toward. I mean, I didn't do it today yet. Sorry, I haven't posted, but I've been putting my affirmations because it is something that I do on a daily basis. And, I've gotten the feedback that it's at least helping, not at least, it is helping people.
It's helping me.
Then it's, I actually had the most incredible thing. A friend of mine who, it's one of those friends you don't talk all the time, but when you pick up, it's totally perfect where you are. And she posted an affirmation that she wrote, like standards, like I do. And she said, like, thank you so much for inspiring this. This has been incredible for me. And so that's what keeps us going. But I've been putting them out there, and there are words of choice in there. And that's why when my intentions, my affirmations evolve as I'm writing them, I love it, because I realize that one word doesn't fit me, really, and the other word comes to me, and I just change it as I go. And Tim, I'm going to have to work the word trunks in there somewhere. I don't know. I'll work on it. Oh, Jen, thank you. You need to keep hearing my voice. I have so much love for you guys. You show up in such beautiful ways for both of us and for all the time, but just thank you. Yeah, Katie J. That's it. That comes in. Yes. Yeah, it's yes, the whole freaking cake, man. And that was a pattern of mine. And actually, at the end of my marriage, my therapist looked at me and said, you've recreated your abuse relationship. And I looked at her and was like, I did not recreate. I did not recreate. What are you talking about? And she ticked off. You're surviving on breadcrumbs. You're doing everything to keep him happy. Your needs and wants, and she's used, don't matter. They don't exist. You have no voice. And I thought, fuck, I recreated my abuse dynamic, and it was particularly hard hitting because I had done years and years of therapy, and still ended up in that place. But it has become a beautiful lesson for me, at how quickly we can fall back into comfortable discomfort, how we can use those skills, our survival skills, at times when they're maladaptive. And again, I say breadcrumbs just because I can survive on breadcrumbs doesn't mean I have to or I'm going to. I can totally do it. I know how to live with silencing my voice. I know how to not have any of my own individual, desires, intentions. But just because I can live that way doesn't mean I have to.
100%. And I get it. I've done it too, many times.
You
I
reading?
think- yeah, I'm trying to read, but I keep getting the notifications about LinkedIn not working. Like it blocks the whole comment section.
Um,
Like literally, it blocks the whole thing. So it's
oh
like,
no, we need to just cancel that event at this point.
yeah. Well, I think that's the end of this week,
Yes.
and it was a interesting conversation, continuation of my video last night, and
Mhm.
Nancy once again displaying her amazingly, beautifully, perfectly self, and how she helps and loves and is just her. Good night, everybody. Have a great week. I guess it's Monday tomorrow.
Enjoy.
Wow. Here it goes.
There it goes again. Thank
Yeah.
you, everyone. Your being here and your sharing your thoughts really does mean a lot. And Mike, I have
It does.
words that I will find later for
I'm good at what I do.
you are.
Yes.
Yeah.
Thank you too for great nuggets and all the lessons. I love you, Jen. You're amazing.
Thank you.
Kenny, you're awesome. Thank you. Tim, Dorothy, Michelle.
So David Mumford was there. David Pollock was there. Yeah.
Yeah. All right, guys. Have a great night, and
Good night.
we'll see you soon.